Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion, Chayei Sarah. We continue with the story of Abraham, or his his servant Eliezer, who is finding a wife for Yitzchak. And it looks like he's got success. Let's continue the story. He found Rivka. We are fourth reading, chapter 24, verse 27. Thank you. So he said, the Eliezer, Baruch Hashem, blessed is God, Elokei Adoni, the God of my master Avraham, Asher lo ya'oz of Chazdoi, that he did not leave behind or withhold his kindness, Va'amitai, and his truth, Me'im Adoni, from my master. Anechi baderech, I have been on the path, he has guided me, or Nachani, actually, Anechi baderech, on the path, Nachani, he guided me, Hashem, God, Beis Achei Adoni, to the house of my master's brother. Rashi in 27, Baderech, on the way, Derech HaMezuman, the way that was prepared. Derech HaYasha, the straight way. But Derech, on that way, Shayisi Tzorech, which I needed to go. And similarly, we find Kol Beis Lamed Vehei, all instances where you have a Hey, a Lamed, and a Beis, that function as a prefix to the word, and it's vowelized with a patach. Medabrim bedover hapashut. We speak about the obviously known thing that's already been mentioned elsewhere. Baderech, right? Baderech, on the way. Which way? The way that is already known, right? Good morning. Right, on the path that's already known. Right, it's already been mentioned elsewhere, or that it's distinct, the nikar are discernible, in which that which is being spoken about. Right, you could say exactly, like in the path. Okay. Verse number 28. Vitara Tanaira, and the maiden ran, Vitagid Labeis Ima, and she went and told to the mother's quarters, Kidvarim Eila, as these events. 28 in Rashi. Labeis Ima went to her mother's house. Why? Rashi picks up on it and said, Derech Nashim Haisa, it was a practice of women, Liyasahim Bias, that they had their own little space, their own quarters. They'd sit and they do their work during the day. Right? They would sit and weave, or they would, whatever kind of work they were doing for the household. And a daughter who does not confide except with her mother. That's what Rashi is picking up over here. Right? That's why she chose, her mother over her father. Right. Unless she's a father's daughter. Okay.
Today, the wife with the husband is a little house where he does his work.
It's Rivka, to Rivka. She has a brother. Shmei Lavan. His name is Lavan. Well, we'll get to know him later on much more. Right, because he's going to be the father-in-law of Yaakov, right? The Yaratz, and he ran Lavan Ela Ish, to the man. Achutza, outside, Elai, into the spring. Okay, what's he getting involved over here? What's his business that he's running? Yaratz, Lavan ran. Lamaratz, why did he run? Rashi asks. Amaratz, for what did he run for? Because he saw the rings. Amar, Osher, who's there? This is a rich guy. And he set his eyes on the money. Right? That's what he was interested in.
Didn't take long.
Huh?
It didn't take long. He noticed it quickly.
It was dazzled all over. It was, she had it. Remember, she had it already, right? And he also is carrying it, right? Verse number 30. Vayhi, and it was. Kirois in his seeing, esanezem, the ring, vesatzmidim, and the bracelets, ayidei achoisei, on his sister, Shamai, and when he was hearing, as Rivka, the words of Rivka, achoisei, his sister, Lamar, saying, Koidi berelai, so spoke to me, Haish, the man, Yavai elaish, so he came to the man, Vina Omed al Hagamalim, al Ha'ayin, and behold, Omed, he's standing, al upon Hagamalim, the camels, al Ha'ayin, by the spring. Rashi in 30, al Hagamalim.
It's not actually the well.
Huh?
Must be the well, no?
A well can be a spring. But, Ayin means a spring. The word means, right? I mean, al Hagamalim is standing by the camel of Shamim to watch them, who Aymed Aleim, like he's standing over them. Right? 31. Vayemer. And he said, Eliezer says, Boy, Baruch Hashem, come. Sorry, no. He's saying, Lavan is saying, Boy, come. Baruch Hashem, blessed is God. Lama samay bachutz. Why should you stand outside? V'neicha v'nisa habayis. I have cleaned out the house. Omakam legemalim, and there's place for the camels. What do you mean you cleaned out the house? Rashi says, "Fanisa abayis," but he's the servant that cleans. So Rashi says, "Ma'avodah zara, from idols."
You skipped the Lagmalim.
That was a previous pasuk.
Yeah. Oh.
I did it.
Yeah. Well, he took off all the avodah zarah. Why would he do that?
Because he's already heard that he's coming from Avram, right? I mean, the truth is, maybe not, because that's how he's going to, in a moment we're going to have, he's going to introduce himself.
Is it the same trafim that he had or something else?
I don't know. Good question.
Did he only temporarily step on the side? Was it a?
Yeah, he did it. He did it. Yeah. So the commentators bring out, like, why does it say, that he cleaned out the house? So it's like, you have a guest comes over. Oh, I really worked hard for you to come today. I cleaned the house. That's not nice. You make a guest feel uncomfortable, right? So that's why Rashi is saying that it was from idolatry. Because why not? I clean the house. No. Now, how that happened all in that quick time that he ran out to him, like I don't get that. Like, where did he have the time? I mean, I guess maybe there were just a couple idols there that he just, as he was running out, he, noticing. But how does he know that he's coming from Avram? Otherwise, why would he care? So she spoke. That's what it says earlier. It says, Kishamai es divrei Rivka. Then when he heard the words of Rivka, his sister, right? So it must be already that, he sized up, oh, he's coming from Avram, so I better clean out the place. So he took out the few idols that were just hanging out in the front, in the front foyer. I'm just trying to get the picture of how this would make sense, seemingly. Okay, 32. Verse 30, and he came, Ha'ish, the man, Abayisa. By the way, if you'll notice, he's never called by his name the whole story. No, Ha'ish, the man, Eliezer. Never is he called, only in the beginning when he took an oath, he was, but on the mission, because he's on a mission of his Rebbe. He doesn't exist. All that exists is his Rebbe's mission. And you see the way he said, the God of my master, right? Let my master be successful. He never attributes anything. He's the first Leah. Yeah, unbelievable. So Yava, and he came Ha'ish, the man Habaisa, to the house, the Yiftach Hagimalim, and he unfastened the camels, V'iten Tevin, and he gave to them Tevin straw, or Mispay, and feed. La Gemalim for the Gemalim, Umayim Raglav, and water to wash his feet, V'ragle HaNashim, and the feet of the men that were with him, Asher Yitai. Rashi in 32, V'yiftach, and he unfastened heater, Zamam Shalahem. Remember, we learned that earlier, that they had muzzles, right? The animals, so that they shouldn't graze in other people's fields. Because they would cover their mouth. That they should not graze when they were traveling. So the Sachirim in other people's fields. 33 in the verse. Biyasim lefanavim was placed before him lechol food. And he said, "I will not eat ad im divarti until I am speaking divarai my words." So he said to him, "Speak."
It could be Vayusam. There's a different meaning. It was put in front of him.
Yeah, it was placed before him. Yeah. 33 in Rashi, ad im dibarti, until I have spoken. Hare im meshamish b'lashon asher. The word im over here, remember, has 4 different functions. Here it means asher, that. B'lashon ki, in the sense of the word of ki. He until that the Shila will come. The Zel bracha. Ki meshamish b'arba that the word ki has 4 different meanings. And one of them is that, as in our verse. Okay. What did he say? The first words, all he says is, who am I? No name. Eved, a servant of Avram, Anoichi, I am. The I am isn't even first, right? In English, you'd say, I am. There's an I here. There's a me here. No, all there is an Eved. Unbelievable. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, folks.
Was he one of the people who left the world in his body? Right, Eliezer was a great man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And it wasn't Jewish. Wow.
35. Yeah. Hashem and Hashem and Hashem blessed my master very much so, Vigdal, and he prospered. He was great, meaning prospered. And he gave to him sheep, bakar and cattle, bekesef and silver, bezov and gold, vavadim and servants, vishvachas and female servants, gemolim and camels, and donkeys. Continuing in 36, the Taled Sarah, and was born to Sarah, Ashes Adoni, the wife of my master, Ben, a son, La Adoni, to my master, La Ziknosa, after her, she becoming elderly, and he gave to him his Kolish Eloi, all that was his. Remember, we had that earlier, right? So now Rashi picks up, what do you mean all that was his he gave to him? So Rashi picks up on that. He gave him all that he possessed. Shtar hamatana aher alahem. He showed him the document of the gift that he wrote in there that everything that he has belongs to his son. 37 in the verse. Yashbieni, and he made me swear, Adoni, my master Lamor, saying, Lo yisikach isha, do not take a wife. Livni for my son, Mibnei Kanani, from the daughters of the Canaanites where they were living, right? Asher Nechi Yeshibar, so that I am dwelling amongst them. Rashi, Loisikach Isha Livni Mibnei Kanani, do not take a wife from me from this for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites. Unless you go Ella Leve Savi, first you got to go to my father's house. And she will not consent to follow. And if she will not consent to follow you, okay, continuing the 38. Imlay el base avi, only unless it's from the house of my father. Telech, you should go. Ve'al mishpachti, into my family. Lekach, then you shall take Ishem livni, take a wife for my son. Ve'emer el adeni. And I said to my master, Ulai, perhaps. Rashi is going to pick up on that word Ulai in a moment because of the spelling of it. Say, maybe she's not going to want to go. Isha, the woman. Acharai, after me. In other words, she doesn't want to. She wants to come here, right? Remember, we had that. Right. 39 in Rashi. Ulai Isha. It's written not with a vav, which would make it clear that it means perhaps, but it's written Eli. See, to me, it's written. Bas Eliezer. So Rashi explains. Eliezer had a daughter. And he was finding a pretext. Avram, that Avram should tell him, if they say love, to turn to him, let's see Ubita, that he should marry his daughter. That Yitzchak should marry Eliezer's daughter. Avram said to him, B'ni Baruch, my son is blessed, you are cursed. And the cursed is not going to cleave to the blessed. Yeah, and unbelievable, right? Yeah, Eliezer was a Canaanite. And Canaan, remember, was cursed, right? The story, remember, with when Noah was naked, right? So, Canaan was the grandson. He was of Ham's son, right? And Canaan is the one who told his father that the father's naked, the grandfather's naked, right? Right? What did grandfather Noah say? You're cursed. So he's a descendant of the Canaanites, Eliezer. So he's part of a cursed people. So therefore, the cursed cannot cleave to the blessed. Okay. And yet, he's a great man, right? So very important. You could be cursed with something, but that doesn't mean you can't become great. He's a great man. We're going to learn more and see, right? So not to make a mistake. Like sometimes, you can come from a background and it might be cursed, but that doesn't mean you can make good on that background. Just in marriage, the two could not cleave to each other, but doesn't take away. And as we see, it doesn't affect him in any way that he, feels less towards his master, right? That's quite a showing on his greatness. Got it?
Thank you for that decision.
Yeah, that's like. Because truth is truth. And a person of truth, well, there are very great Hasidim who the Rebbe cut off. He wouldn't because they didn't listen to something. like someone who was a great mashpia, and he wouldn't go back to Israel, whatever. And the Rebbe kind of like didn't. Do you think for a moment it stopped him from being a chassid? No. A truth is truth. And even though the Rebbe was very upset with him, and the choice that he made, right? I'm talking about a real, like, on that level, it's a different, you know. Anyways, that's for a Fabrengen, not for now. Verse 40, Vayomer Eli, and he said to me, Asher Yisalachti Lefanav, the Hashem, Asher Yisalachti Lefanav, Hashem, before whom I have walked, Yishlach Malachai. This is Eliezer now telling over the story, right? Right? He's telling now what Avram further said to him, right? That Hashem will send his angel before Itach with you, and you will be successful in your journey and your path. Isha, and you will take a woman, from a wife from my son, from my family, from my father's house. 41. Az tinake, then you will be clean, me'alasi, from my oath. Kisova el mishpachti, when you will come to my family, and if they will not give to you, right? In other words, they won't give this woman to you to be a wife. Right? Hayisa, you will Naki be clean, me'alasi, from my oath. In other words, you have no longer any obligation. You did your part, and right. So he's repeating what Avram said to him, right? Remember, we learned this. So we learned. He's repeating that, right? 42. Now he continues. Eliezer telling the family, and I came Hayom today, El Ha'ayin, to the spring, Va'emer, and I said, Hashem Elokei Adeni, Hashem, the God of my master Avram, Im yesh chana, if there is, please, matzliach darki, make successful my path, asher nechi hailech aleha, that I'm going upon. Rashi in 42, he picks up on the words of Hayom. I came today. Hayom yatzasi. In other words, today I left. Hayom basi, and today I arrived. As in one day he went from Canaan across the Euphrates, which is quite far. Mikan, from here we see that the earth contracted for him. In other words, it was miraculously shortened for him, the journey. Right? So Reb Acha said, follow what now. Interesting what he says. Why he says it over here, I'm not clear. The Rebbe speaks about this at length. The conversation of the slaves, the servants of the patriarchs, is more pleasing before God, from the Torah of their descendants. You hear that statement? That's a pretty powerful statement, right? Eliezer's conversation, right? His conversation now, he's saying, is more dear to God than our Torah study of the descendants, right? How can you make that statement? So he says, because the episode, the whole story, the episode of Eliezer, right? And seeking out a wife for Yitzchak, full of a Torah, is doubled in the Torah. Right? In other words, the conversation that he just mentioned, that conversation already happened. Why is the Torah repeat it? Why is it repeating it? We don't have that in the Torah. So why is it repeating? Why? To teach us that how dear it is, even though all he is, he's a servant. Right? No, he's a servant. It's dear to God more than, right? We need to understand what that means, though. Right? But the proof is from the Torah itself. Because many essential elements of the Torah. So only giving a hint. And others, there's laws in the Torah that we learn out only because there's a letter missing, because there's a letter added. It's only hinted to. So our Torah that we have is hinted to, right?
Well, this is
This is very
very
explicit and doubled. So it shows the endearment, right? I mean, we need the Rebbe's. Yeah. Anyways, fascinating. I can't remember now the Sikha offhand, but this is fascinating. Yeah. Okay. 43. Hine, behold, Anechi, I, Nitzav, standing al ayin hamayim, on the spring of water, right? Which Al-Chaim said before, it was a well that she was coming to. It's called the spring of water. Vahaya, and it was Ha'alma, a young woman, Hayetzes Lishav, that was going out to draw water. Va'amarti aleha, and I said to her, Hashkinina, pour for me, please. Ma'at ma'im, a little water, mikadeh, from your pitcher. Right? 44. Vamra, Eli, and she said to me, Gam ata sheseh, you shall also drink, v'gam geligimalecha, and also to your camels, eshav, I will draw water. V'hi ha'isha, and she is that woman, asher ha'ichiach, that was proved to me, or designated, Hashem, leben adeni, to the son of my master. Rashi in 44. Gamata. You also, Gam also means of Rabbas and Hashim, the men that were with Eliezer, right? But not just him. In other words, it should have said, Vamra alai shisei. Ata shisei, you drink. What do you mean also? Where's the also here? The also is the camels, right? What also you? Mean also the men that were with him. He didn't come alone. He came with those that were helping him, right? Yeah, but but the word gam over here is including that. Rashi is saying that over here. We learned that earlier, but in this verse it means them. Haychiach has designated, better clarified by Hidia, made known. Similarly, we have kol mikra. The word haychacha in the Torah is better dover. Better dover is to clarifying a matter. 45. Verse 45. Ani, and I, terem echaleb, before I finish ladaber, to speak, el libi, to my heart, vihine, and behold, Rivka yitzas, Rivka's coming out. So everything he said before, right, what he was speaking to himself, right? Speaking to God in his heart. God, this is what I need is this to happen, so I'll know that this is the right woman for my master's son Yitzchak, right? Mm-hmm. And now he's saying, before I finish to speak in my heart, Rivka came out, and the pitcher is on her shoulder. And she went down to the spring, and she drew water. And I said to her, pour for me, please. Rashi in 45. I had not yet finished, right? I had not yet finished. Similar, we have a language in the present tense. Sometimes it's the past tense. It could have been written tearing before I finished, which would be past tense. right? Which it doesn't say it that way. Sometimes an expression of future tense. Kamoi ki oima iyo. Hare lashon avar. Kacha yase iyo. Hare lashon osid. Appears name and lashon hoive. Ki oimer hayo. Now it's not. He should be speaking in past tense because he's talking about something that happened, right? But he's speaking in future tense.
It's like a retroactive future.
Yeah. Okay. 46. V'temaher, and she hurried. V'teired, and she brought down, lowered. Kada, her pitcher, me'aleha, from upon her. V'teimer, and she said, "Shisei, drink. V'gam gamalecha, also your camels. Ashke, I will give drink. V'asht, and I drank. V'gam hagamalim ishkasa, also the camels she gave drink." Okay. Now you'll pick up something maybe different in this verse. Let's see, 47. Okay, but Eshal, and I asked, I saw her, I asked her, Aymar, Bas Mia, and I said, the daughter of who are you? But Tamer, and she said, Bas Besul, I'm the daughter of Besul, Ben Nocher, who is the son of Nocher, right? Nocher is a brother of Avraham, right? Asher Yaldaloi, that was born to Milcah. Va'asim hanezim, and I placed the rings al appa, on her nose. That's medium, and the bracelets al yadeh, on her hand. So what do you see over here that's different? In the original story, he first gave the jewelry, and then he asked her who she is. Here he switched it. Let's see Rashi. 47, my question. Then I placed Shina Seder. He changed the sequence of events. Why? Because first he gave the jewelry, if you remember. Then he only asked her, who are you the daughter of? They didn't want to, he didn't want that they should catch him in his words, thinking that they caught him in a lie. But Yemen, they'll say, how did you give her jewelry? And you don't know who she is. Like they're going to say, no, you didn't do it that way.
They wouldn't believe him.
You wouldn't believe him, right? Because for him, it was proof positive. This is what he said, God, this is what I need. And he got exactly what he needed. He had proof positive, right? But they're not going to see it that way. So he had to change it in order that they would be palatable for them. 48, and I bowed, and I prostrated la Hashem, to God. And I blessed as Hashem, I blessed Hashem, Elokei Adeni, the God of my father, my master, Avraham. That he led me on the path, emes, of the true path. On the true path, lakachas, to take es bas achi adeni livnai, to take the daughter of the brother of my master, right? Because his brother, right? I mean, his brother is the grandfather, right? The for my son's the master of my son. 49, verse 49. V'ata, now, Im yeshchem, if there is to you, oisim chesed, to do kindness, v'emes, and to do the truth, el adoni, to my master, higiduli, say, tell me. Im higiduli, and if you will not tell me, ve'efna, I will turn al hayamin, on the right, or al hasmoil, I'm going to leave, right? Now tell me, what's your response to all of this, right? Rashi in 49, Al Yamin on the right. Mibnei Ishmael, which is the daughters of Ishmael, are on the right. And the Ishmael to the left is Mibnei Salait, are the daughters of Lot. Chayei Yeshiv is Ishmael Shel Avram, who lived to the left of Avram, as it says in the Medrash Beishis Rabbah. Right? I guess, why does he say I'm not going to the right to the left? I mean, either why would you say that? I'll leave. Why you have to say the right? Because it means I'm going to go elsewhere, either to the daughters of Ishmael or to the daughters of Lot. Right? That's what he means. That's what it means to indicate. Right? Verse number 50. Vayomru, and they said. Right now they're responding to him. They said, plural. Right? May Hashem yatsa davar. From God, yatsa came out hadavar. This thing came from God. Like nuchal. Davar elech. We can't speak like against you. Rav, I shouldn't say. Couldn't speak to you. Rav Taib, evil or good. Let's see Rashi. What does that mean? One second. Oh, 1 second. V'yan Lavan u'Besuel. Did I say that? I didn't say that. I'm sorry. And they responded, Lavan and Besuel. You see something incongruent there?
Why do they name the son before the father?
Exactly. Good. Oh, now you're starting to pick up on a verse. Exactly. Right? Let's see. And they said, "May Hashem," right from Hashem. I don't know how I skipped those those words. Okay, let's see Rashi. V'yan Lavan and Besuel responded, Rasha Haya, Lavan was wicked. The Kafis Lahashiv, and he jumped to answer Lifnei Avi before his father. Right, a son who answers before his father, that's called a wicked son. Right, and that's what he was doing. Even though he was responding correctly. Right? What did he say? This came from God. So he wasn't saying something wicked, but the act of doing that is disrespectful. And therefore, that's why it's called wicked. Okay, continuing Rashi, we can't speak to you, to refuse you about this matter. Neither to responding with a bad thing. In other words, we're going to say something, right? Negative to all of this. We can't do that. And nor can we respond by saying something proper. Why? Because it's obvious that this is coming from God. According to your words, that this is all prepared. That it's all prepared for her. That this is what's got to happen. V'hine, and behold, Rivka lifanecha. Rivka, she is here before you. V'leich, hosi li'isha leven adainecha kasher diber. Diber Hashem. So Rivka here, she's in front of you. Take her and go. And let her be the wife of your master's son, as God has spoken. Vayikash Shema Eved Avram, and it was when he heard the servant of Avram, as the Ivrahim, their words, Hashem, and he prostrated himself to the ground to give thanks to Hashem. Rashi, Arza, and he bowed, prostrated himself. He can from here, that you give thanks, when you get good tidings. You get good tidings, you have to say thank you. We're going to see in tomorrow's class, they're going to ask her for her consent. They didn't ask her yet for her consent, right? But it's going to be in tomorrow's class. Nonetheless, even though it wasn't full, complete, good tidings, but that itself was good tidings. And for that alone, you have to give thanks to Hashem. In other words, even though it's not 100% confirmed. Right, that's commentary saying. Wow. How awesome. How awesome.
Even if it's not complete, even along the way, if we see God's hand in that is going well, we should be grateful.
Yeah,
during.
exactly. So the commentaries ask, remember, if you go back to verse 42, go back to verse 42. Remember, we said that the conversation of the servants of the patriarchs is more dear to God, right? Remember that? So all the commentators have a problem with Rashi. Why does he bring it over here in the middle of, like, in the middle of the conversation? In the middle of, like, no, because he already spoke about the oath, right? So, like, why is it over here that he brings that comment when he already spoke about the oath that he took, right? That's already doubled, right? It's already repeating the conversation. It's only about when he comes to his destination is Rashi saying, but he's telling the conversation from what happened about the oath that it's already doubled, right? So why would it be exactly over here that he would give this, right? So either you bring it at the beginning of when it's doubled, right? Which like would be in verse would be in verse 37, for example, that he may take an oath, right? Right, that's where it would begin. That because that's already telling over something, or you'd say it at the end. Why in the middle? Right, in the middle doesn't make sense, right? The commentators all ask it, right? And furthermore, where is he telling this? In the fact that he came, I came today. I came today, like it's specific, that's where this point he's making is over here. I came today. Seemingly, it should be not as a continuation of what he said before that. It should be in its own. It's only divrei maschil. Its own. I said divrei maschil. Its own title. Its own like. If you see when he brings down from the verse, Rashi brings from the verse and then comments on it, right? Yeah. That which you bring from the verse. So it's a separate idea. It should have had its separate, entry point.
Yeah.
But it's a continuation here of that. I can't of that he went on kvitzas aderach, that he went in a very speedily fashion, right? What's it got to connect with that? So we can say that they're connected with each other. Ugh.
By now you already know my joke, right? After all this time, you know my.
You have to do it.
Oh, okay, briefly, the Rebbe says like this. There's one thing that was not doubled in his conversation, and that is the Kvitza Saderech. This is the first time that we see that he, on the same day he went, he came there, right? That it was, he got there somehow in a miraculous way, right? That's not repeated. That's why it brings it up. This seemingly is like a very important point, right? The fact that he got, it's a miraculous thing. The rest is not miraculous. It's a conversation. That is only said one time, but the conversation is said 2 times. Oh, Yafasi Chasen Shalav De'aves. So important is the conversation before God of the servants of the patriarchs. And that's why he makes that comment. Wow. Psh, only the Rebbe could do that. Only the Rebbe could do that. Yeah, but still we need to understand what that comment is.